Oh, my name is Sgt. I plead not guilty to this deed. We were just drinking at the bar. They think I hit you with my car, though I don't really know how, without me damaging the plow. So we found you in the snow. How you got there, I don't know. Brian Alberts was the place where we found your broken face. All the witnesses at trial claim their phones can all but dial. The McCabe say they're your friend, but the truth they surely bend. They will pull out all the stops, protecting all the crooked cops. And those cringy texts I sent to the agent that was banned were removed in single threads by machines owned by the feds. So Detective Brian's dreams were not disturbed by my shrill screams. Carrie Roberts testified, didn't fake it when she cried. Unlike Jen, who likes to mock a state of horror and of shock. It was February 22 when I last set eyes on you. Death is such a nasty thief of your life, Johnny O'Keefe.
Ah, welcome back. I'm back. Did you miss me? A little bit? Because I missed you, and you, and you, and you. Welcome back. Day 21 of this farce we call the Karen Reid trial that should never have gotten here. But alas, well, here we are. But if it's any consolation, today is worth the wait. Just saying. Sgt Bukhenik is taken down a notch or two by Mr. Jacko Jackson. Yeah, and it's great to see. Great to see. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're warm and you're comfy and you've got your favourite beverage, your comfiest shoes or slippers, and you're ready to buckle down and get into it with me. Let's go, shall we? Now, which one? That one. And play. And maybe Jody should have queued it up at the right time spot. Helped. Nothing like going live.
You are unmuted.
No, you're such a sweetie, Bri. Thank you. Hear ye, hear ye.
Your name, give your attendance, and shall be heard. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Court is now open. You may be seated.
22-117, the Commonwealth versus Karen Reid. Could I have the witness, please?
So, good morning again, Counsel and Ms. Reid. Good morning, viewers. We appreciate your patience. Giving us this time actually helps streamline things today, so we appreciate that. I do have to ask you those 3 questions. Were you all able to follow the instructions and refrain from doing any independent research or investigation into this case? Were you also able to follow the instructions and refrain from discussing this case with anyone?
Yes, Auntie Bev.
Did anyone happen to see, hear, or read anything about this case since we left?
No.
Thank you very much. Everybody answered those questions appropriately. Okay, can we have
Not
Sergeant
me.
Bukhenik, please?
Now speak up and keep the aircon on, or you'll be in trouble. I hope you all liked my new intro,
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
my tribute. Made the song myself.
All right, Mr. Lally, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. Circle
Sir?
back just to a couple things
Sir?
from your testimony from yesterday. Going back to the video that you reviewed from both C.F. McCarthy's and the waterfall. In total, from those two videos, how many drinks did you observe the defendant consuming over her time?
The video shows 9 drinks being consumed by the defendant.
And that
Whoop-de-doo.
Like gardening items that would help them to dig through the snow and locate any missing items.
And as far as the temperature
Speed this up.
change that you're talking about, how precipitous?
Because I went out for dinner and rushed when I got home. And I forgot that Lally was still doing direct. So basically they just go through a whole heap of crap photos and show
As they
different
lay, or
bits of
were they
plastic
touched, manipulated in any way prior
that
to-
apparently just
It's a
turned
plastic.
up as the
That's
snow
the same
melted,
piece
you
of
know.
plastic that
like
pulls
that.
our image from the prior exhibit.
Yes, it is.
All the stuff that got submitted
And Ms.
by
Gilman, if I could
Michael
have
Proctor.
photograph 7.
There's a straw on the road that just appeared once the snow melted.
Now exhibit
Other bits of
494.
plastic.
Sergeant, what do we?
Yeah, they just happened to be there.
Exhibit 502.
So
Sergeant, if you could,
we'll
again,
skip all
describe
that
the
and we'll
target
get to
what was-
cross
Sergeant,
because
direct your attention to
this
the
makes
screen
me
if you
cross.
could, using that laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to
And
what any
Jackson's
of
way
these
much more
two
fun to
were.
watch. Oh, they found his hat too.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gilman, you can take that down. Thank you, Mr. Ops.
Oh, then Lally makes him get them all out of the boxes.
Sergeant, on February 3rd, 2022, is that the first time that you had been at
Here we
34?
go, here we go. Jacko's up on his feet. Oh, Lally wanted to submit something and Jackson denies. No, sir, you can't do that. It's inappropriate. Those images are not in your favor. You can show them, but it will show that my client is not guilty. So I advise you strongly to put them back in the manila folder where you got them from. Straight away. Hide them. Hide them now. Don't let anyone see it. Oh, crap. That's right. They are. Oh, all right. I'll take your word for it. I'll put them back. Back in the manila folder they go. Did I say it? No more questions. Did Mommy pack your lunch today?
That's okay.
Thank you very much, Sergeant. Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Oh,
Cross-examination?
Thank you, Your Honor.
anyone to think I'd watched this before? Good morning.
Sergeant Bukhenik, I want to start with one of the
Just at the best
latter
bit.
things that you discussed with Mr. Lally. That's specific to the ring video that y'all talked about this morning. Do you have that in mind?
I do.
The search warrant that produced, and just so we're clear, I'm talking about the specific ring video or series of videos that were associated with One Meadows, John O'Keefe's home.
Okay.
Okay. You didn't write the search warrant for those ring videos, did you?
I did not.
You were not the affiant for those search warrants.
I was not.
Who was the author of the search warrant and the affiant?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor.
Who received the actual Ring video or videos from the Ring Corporation?
It was Trooper Mike Proctor received it.
And who ultimately either logged those into evidence or controlled those once they were received from the Ring Corporation?
I believe it was Trooper Mike Proctor.
And ultimately, Sergeant Bukhenik, you did note that in addition to just the physical videos themselves, that login information and login keystrokes, et cetera, were requested from the Ring Corporation as well, correct?
There was discussion with Ring asking for those logs.
I'll call it, is it correct to say an activity log?
That's what was requested, yes, activity log, yes.
So ultimately, the activity log would show who logs in, who accesses the data, things of that nature, correct? Or at least that was the hope.
That is what was requested.
All right. It would also show logging in and executing deletions, manipulating the log files, things of that nature, correct?
That is what was requested, yes.
When you reviewed those log or activity logs, there was no evidence revealed that my client ever logged into that account, correct?
There was no activity logs provided by Ring.
So you have zero, hang on. Isn't it true that Ring contacted Trooper Proctor and indicated that they had created a Dropbox folder that contained the evidence that had been sought in the search warrant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Isn't it true that the search warrant return specified account information, video recordings, and number 3, activity logs associated with the video recordings for all times displayed in UTC?
I'm not aware of that, no.
Do you recall that activity logs were in fact provided from the Ring Corporation?
I do not recall that, no.
Okay. May I approach briefly?
Yes.
Familiar with Ring?
Take a look, Sergeant, at that paragraph, which my finger's on. It's about the 3rd paragraph down, the middle of the page, and review that to yourself and let me know when you're finished.
Let me know in half an hour when you've studied those 2 sentences. I must memorize. If I move my head side to side, they think I'm still reading, while I'm really just thinking of grabbing my pants. Oh, come on. Surely you've read a report before. Yuri. Yoo-hoo.
Have you had an opportunity to review that?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Does this refresh your recollection as to the items received from the Ring Corporation?
That is the first time I saw that document, so it does not refresh my recollection. I simply read it.
So do you have a recollection as you sit here that in fact, during the course of your investigation, the 3 items that you received from the Ring Corporation were the account information, the video recordings, and quote, activity logs associated with the video recordings, all times displayed in UTC.
To the extent of its availability, as it says in that document.
Okay. The long and short of it is, during the entire course of your investigation, you never revealed that investigation never revealed any evidence whatsoever that my client ever even accessed the account information for the Ring account associated with this search warrant, correct?
Nothing provided by Ring proved or suggested or proved any evidence of that type of activity, no.
Thank you. Trooper Proctor, you were notified.
I am not Trooper Proctor.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. Sergeant Bukhenik.
Sgt Bukhenik.
How do I say
Oh,
it?
Buchanan.
right, Jackson. You've been told.
Yeah, it's fine.
Bukhenik?
Yes,
Is that better?
that's better. Thank you.
If I screw it up again, please. On January 29th, you were notified about a Boston police officer found gravely injured outside the home of 34 Fairview at about 6:40 in the morning. Was that your testimony?
That is not.
No.
What time were you notified?
I was not notified it was a Boston police officer.
So you didn't have that information upon the first notification?
I did not.
Okay, what information did you have?
There was a male party in the snowbank, possibly of a heart attack.
At what point did
Oh,
you
God.
learn that the individual was in fact a sworn Boston police officer?
How many diagnoses have we had here?
I do not know exactly when I learned that he was a Boston police officer.
I think it was during that day or the following day.
It was most likely that day, either. Yeah.
Fair enough. Trooper Proctor was ultimately assigned as the, what did you call him? Not lead investigator, but case officer?
That's correct.
He was assigned on the 29th, correct?
He was on call from
7 till
7 a.m. on January 28th until 7 a.m. on January 29th.
Yes. Now, what time was John legally declared deceased in the ER? Anyone? 7:50 after Michael Proctor's shift had ended. 7:50. So technically, shouldn't have been his case. Should have been the next person on call's case.
So his assignment was, he was assigned on the 29th because he was on call.
He was on call. His assignment took
Until 7 a.m.
effect when the schedule came out back in mid-December.
Okay. Well, he wouldn't be assigned to this investigation until there was a need for the investigation, right? And that's all I'm getting to. I mean, once the call came in, he was the assigned case agent.
Once the calls come in, the person that's on call is automatically assigned that case.
All right. Did you personally, as his supervisor, did you personally respond to 34 Fairview at any point on January 29th?
No, I did not.
Did Trooper Proctor, at your direction or on his own, ever respond to 34 Fairview Road at any time on January 29th?
No.
No, he did not.
Based on your initial investigation, and I'm talking about going way back, Sergeant, on your initial investigation, by 10 or 10:30 in the morning, 10:40 in the morning, it was your belief that Mr. O'Keefe had been struck in the face by a person. That was your initial understanding of the circumstances surrounding the investigation, correct?
Or was dragged by a car.
My initial understanding was that the defendant stated that she hit him. We did not know the.
Sergeant, you hadn't even met
Yeah.
my client at that point.
Yeah.
You hadn't interviewed a single witness by 10:41 in the morning, correct? Not one witness.
That's not correct. We had already interviewed the first responders.
Okay, when I say witness, I'm talking about civilian witnesses. So at 10:41, you hadn't interviewed a person at 34 Fairview or civilians associated with this incident, correct?
At that point, no civilians have been interviewed, no.
But at 10:41, Sergeant, you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital to inform them that, quote, Mr. O'Keefe was struck in the face with a cocktail glass, end quote, correct?
I do not recall contacting Good Samaritan Hospital.
May I approach?
Yes.
Semantics. Make him squirm, Jackson. Make him squirm.
I'd like you to take a look at this document, and if you wouldn't mind, pay special attention to the second page, the bottom paragraph where it's tabbed in pink.
Now I'm going to take half an hour again, and I'm going to read both pages because I am Yuri. Today, Junior, my Botox is wearing off. Just so arrogant. You can see half of the document's redacted anyway. So he's got 5 words to read on the page. Tosspot. I must remember not to say things out loud. Are we there yet?
Yeah, may I approach?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Having reviewed this, does this refresh your recollection that you contacted Good Samaritan Hospital and gave them an assessment, at least based on your investigation at that time?
That is not true.
What did you say to Good Samaritan Hospital?
I never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital. That document is for the medical examiner's office.
I'm not asking you where the document is from. I'm asking you if the document says Trooper Yuri Bukhenik called back at 10:41 stating the case is now being treated as a suspicion.
The objection sustained.
Did you call back to Good Samaritan Hospital and say that the investigation was being treated as a suspicious due to a domestic situation? Did you say that?
I never spoke to Good Samaritan Hospital.
Did you say that there's a possibility that D was struck in the face with a cocktail glass?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever contact anybody at any medical facility and indicate that the investigation was being treated as a suspicious, in quotation marks, because the victim appeared to have been struck in the face by a cocktail glass? Did you ever say
Objection.
that?
Allow that. Did you ever say that?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, I did say that to the medical examiner's operations desk.
So
Okay,
after all that,
so
he did say it
When
was
I was
just the
asking
wrong
if you ever
person.
sent it to Good Sam, you said, no, that's not true. That's never happened. You were correcting me on the fact that it happened at the medical examiner's office, not at Good Sam.
I responded and answered your question honestly, yes.
Oh, you
So
wanker.
honestly, you
You
did,
fucking
in fact, at
wanker.
10:41 a.m., indicate to another professional involved in the investigation that the circumstance was being treated as a physical assault at that point, correct?
I communicated our suspicions to the medical examiner's office.
And that was at 10:41 or thereabouts in the morning, correct?
That's correct.
Your initial investigation during those obviously critical hours, the beginning hours, led you to believe that there was at least a good possibility, you indicated that you made a phone call, that it was a physical altercation that led to John O'Keefe's death, correct?
That's correct, yes.
What steps did you take, sir, in those moments, to determine whether someone in the house at 34 Fairview may have been involved in that physical altercation that you suspected at the time?
As investigations develop, we followed the evidence and statements made. The steps I took was Trooper Proctor and I proceeded to an eyewitness who was also present at the scene when the victim was discovered and interviewed Ms. McCabe.
And prior to that, prior to interviewing Ms. McCabe, by the way, that was at Ms. McCabe's home, correct?
That's correct, yes.
Even though you believe that there may have been a physical altercation, you didn't ask anybody to come down to the station. Is that right? Any of the witnesses?
That's correct.
And you did not seek to actually go to the physical location of 34 Fairview in those next few hours
That's correct.
or the next few days, correct?
Not myself, no.
Okay. As a matter of fact, Trooper Proctor did not either, did he?
No, he did not.
You didn't secure the interior of the house as a potential crime scene. You certainly know how to do that, right?
That's a compound question. Do you want me to answer whether I did it or whether I know how to do it?
Well, I'll ask the question. If you,
How about
if you
both?
can answer it, please answer it.
Okay.
Can you answer that question?
I can answer that question.
Why don't you answer both of them then?
First portion is we did not secure the home as a crime scene. And the second portion, yes, I do know how to do that.
And
You are
didn't,
so up
as a
yourself.
Massachusetts State Police official, you didn't secure the outside as a crime scene either, did you?
I did not know.
To your knowledge, nobody else from Massachusetts State Police ever did either, did they?
Yes, they did.
How was that done and when?
When members of our office and the CERT team responded to that location and secured the front yard grass area and processed it.
That was at 5:45, 6 o'clock that night on the 29th?
I believe it was earlier, but I was not present,
Okay.
so I can't testify to the time.
So you don't know personally what they did to quote unquote secure or not secure the crime scene. You know they searched it, but in terms of securing it as a crime scene, you don't have personal knowledge to that.
I was not present.
You never took any photos of the interior of the house, correct?
Nope.
I did not know.
You never caused CSSS to go inside the house and process that
Nope.
house as a potential crime scene, correct?
I did not know.
No forensic criminalist at your direction
Okay.
ever went into 34 Fairview.
No, they did not.
And the people that you interviewed on January 29th, you already mentioned Ms. McCabe. The other people were her husband, Matt McCabe, correct?
That's correct.
And her brother-in-law, Brian Albert. Is that right?
That is correct.
And all three of them were interviewed where?
They were interviewed at the McCabe residence.
Now, yesterday when you testified, did you indicate that Brian Albert was not present in the home when you interviewed Matt McCabe and Jennifer McCabe?
He was not present in the dining room when we were interviewing each individual separately.
So if all three of them testified that he arrived before you arrived, they would all be wrong.
I did not see him in the home when we arrived, no.
He's hard to miss.
I want to switch gears real quick to a couple of the physical items that you testified about yesterday, specifically the gray shirt or the gray hoodie and the orange shirt. You and Trooper Proctor collected both of those items you indicated from the floor of the hospital at Good Samaritan, correct?
That's correct.
You testified that you and Trooper Proctor immediately
Have you
bagged
seen these
both of
hands?
those items. They were sort of sopping wet, I think you said.
That's correct.
You indicated that the bags were so wet that you had to take the items back out of the bags and then lay them out on, I think you said, butcher paper. Is that right?
The items were soaked and wet. They were bagged, double bagged, to prevent leakage of physiological fluids and the moisture coming off of it. And then once they were transported to the office, they were laid out on butcher paper in order to dry naturally.
So you went from Good Samaritan directly to Dighton, correct?
That is correct.
And then you went from Dighton directly to the Canton Police Department.
And those
after
soggy
which you had
bags are in
seized
your
the
car
vehicle,
for how
correct?
long?
And the phone.
We seized the phone in the vehicle in Dighton and then followed the tow truck straight to the Canton Police Department.
So at some point, if you had received or gathered the wet clothing at Good Sam, went from Good Sam to Dighton Canton PD, at what point that evening did you finally get those items of clothing out and laid out to dry?
It was late that night, around 10 or so.
So where were the items in the meantime?
They were stored in the back passenger compartment of my pickup truck.
In those double bags.
Correct.
Leaking water and body fluids all over you.
Who took control of the
Carpet?
items to then lay them out late that night at the office?
I do not recall.
Is that you or Trooper Proctor?
I don't recall. I don't remember.
At some point, obviously, it was getting late. You'd been on duty for a long time that day. You went home at some point, correct?
At some point, yes.
Did you wait for those clothes to dry before you went home, or did you leave that in Trooper Proctor's hands?
No, once they were laid out in the processing area in the office, we went home.
Okay. Who would have controlled those items of evidence when you left?
Well, they're under lock and key within the secure area of the district attorney's office, so they're secured. Nobody's in physical control watching guard over them.
Who had access to that area?
Troopers in our office.
Meaning you, obviously.
Yes.
as Supervisor. Trooper Proctor as well, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Ultimately, given the fact that he was the case officer, sort of in charge, the lead, he would have bagged those items up, been responsible for taking those items, tagging them, getting them stored wherever they needed to be stored and processed, correct?
As a case officer, he could direct other people to perform those tasks for him. The evidence officers in the office log in the evidence, and once it was dried, it was sealed up, bagged, and put into storage. As far as who actually performed those tasks, I do not know.
Well, yesterday, Your Honor, may I approach the course, right? There's a couple of evidence.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Thank you. This is not a vision contest. I'll bring these up to you in just a second, but just for familiarity's sake, do you recognize these two bags as bags that you brought to court with you yesterday?
They look familiar, yes.
Okay. This one has a 437 on it on my right. The one on my left has a 438 on it. May I approach it briefly?
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you to open those. Don't worry about gloving up at this point. The bag on your left, which one is that? 437 or 438?
The bag on my left is 437.
437. Okay. And you indicated that those items were bagged after the clothing was dried and then ultimately processed in, logged in, correct?
Once the items dried, they were bagged and logged in, waiting processing, yes.
But you didn't personally do that.
No, I did not, no.
Matter of fact, looking at the bag on your right, what's been marked as Exhibit 430, help me, 438, thank you. That one has some writing on it, correct?
Yes, it has a lot of hand writing on it, yes.
And that, whose handwriting is that?
I don't know.
You've seen Trooper Proctor's handwriting 1,000 times, I guess.
Have a look at the signature. You're
Not
a
1,000
detective.
times, but
You can work it
Looks
out.
like his writing.
it says Trooper Proctor on it. But other than that, I do not know what
Yay!
Trooper Proctor's
You do.
handwriting looks like.
All right. It indicates that Trooper Proctor is the one that bagged that item or those items up, correct?
Yes, this bag indicates that the item was collected by Trooper Proctor on 129
Right.
at 10.
And it says Brockton, correct?
Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton, yes.
You just took the question out of my mouth. That's where Good Samaritan Hospital is, correct?
That's correct.
And there's a tag or a printed label, looks like a label maker of some sort, that is on that physical bag, correct?
Yes.
Before we get to that, what's the description on that bag in handwriting?
I'm sorry. Can you be specific as to description of what
Enjoy.
or
Where it says description of items.
description of enclosed evidence?
Correct.
It says 1 orange T-shirt, 1 gray long sleeve shirt.
They'll bag
So, may I
together.
approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
And before I do that, just so I close this loop, what's the description on the bag to your left, the one that looks like it's less sprinkled?
Number 437.
Yes, if you would read the same clothing description.
The description of enclosed evidence states sweatshirt with recovered items inside container.
May I approach now?
Yes.
Thank you. Yesterday when you opened, keep my voice up. Yesterday when you opened these two bags, this one, 437, has the gray sweatshirt in it. 438 has the orange T-shirt in it now, correct?
That's what was in the bag, yes.
All right. However, the bag indicates at one point, this bag, 438, the physical
together.
bag I'm holding in my left hand, had both the sweatshirt and the T-shirt together, correct?
That's what the description is. I do not know if that was in case or in fact the case.
The reason you don't know is because you're not the one that bagged them. Trooper Proctor did, correct?
The reason I don't know is I wasn't present during the separation of those items, and I did not observe it taking place, nor was I made aware of how the items were separated or when.
You are aware, however, that tag that's on the label maker looking tag, the white tag that's on that bag indicates that indicates a date of February 4th, correct?
You'd have to bring that back up.
I'm sorry,
I
No.
take note of that.
my fault.
No, he's just being difficult.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Just direct your attention to the tag and the date associated with that tag.
The label maker tag does have the date February 4th, 2022 on bag number exhibit 438.
May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you, Sergeant.
And how many days after the incident was that?
That's obviously 6 days after the item was actually recovered on the 29th, correct?
Yes, it is.
Are you glad you checked the bag
So that
now?
indicates, at least based on that tag, that that item was not booked into evidence and processed until 6 days after it was actually recovered on the floor at Good Samaritan Hospital. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
The date indicates February 4th, 2022.
Right. And that date would be indicative, in your experience, of the date that it's moved into processing by some other folks, the evidence sergeants or whomever, or the evidence officers rather, or whomever, correct?
I can't speak to their procedures as far as when they print the date. That date could be when they printed the label, but the bag might have been tagged otherwise. I do
Oh,
not know that.
But there's no other tag on that bag that suggests an earlier date, correct?
There's just that one tag from
Did I print
the
it 4 days
label maker.
before?
My question to you, if you know, sir, and you may not know, is what was happening to these items between January 29th, after you lost sight of them that night on the butcher paper, and February 4th, when that tag indicates that they were first processed?
To the best of my knowledge, those items were drying on the butcher paper.
For 6 days?
If that's what the label maker says, yes, for 6 days. They were soaking wet.
And those would have been certainly accessible to and in the possession of the lead case officer in the case, is Trooper Proctor, right?
Yes, if Trooper Proctor needed to review those items, he would have access to those items. Absolutely.
And you're also aware that the first actual log of any chain of custody for those items is March 14th, when they were finally submitted 6 weeks later to the crime lab.
That is not true. The first actual log of those items is when we collected them from the hospital.
Where's the log? I'm talking about a physical log, like sign in, sign out log. Where's the log?
It's documented in the reports saying that we collected it.
I know that there's a report. Anybody can write a report, right? I can write a report. Doesn't mean anything. I'm asking
With
for a log.
chain of evidence, chain of custody.
So the objection sustained.
Obviously, when items move in and out of people's custody in an official capacity for the Massachusetts State Police, there's a log of that, correct?
It's documented. Yes,
Or at least it should be, correct?
it's documented.
Where's the log of these items before March 14th?
It's documented in the report.
There is no log, is there, Sergeant?
You get him.
I do not know.
He's like a little fox terrier.
I want to talk a little bit about some searches that Mr. Lally asked you about, February 4th and February 10th, very specifically. Both of those searches you were involved with out at 34 Fairview, correct?
Correct.
But Sergeant, you didn't personally write a report about your conduct at 34 Fairview on either of those 2 days. In other words, you didn't go back to the station and generate a report yourself.
I don't recall doing that, no.
There were no photos that you took of the items at the location.
I did.
You also took photos, correct?
I did not take photos of the items. No.
Okay. And the first report that indicates anything that happened or was recovered at the location on either February 4th or February 10th, that was first notated in a report dated November 4th, 2023, year and several months later, correct?
If you say so, I do not know the exact date. That report would have to be presented to me.
May I approach?
Yes.
And presented he will. You really think he wouldn't have that?
You don't have to read the whole thing, but if you can skip to the part that talks about the February 4th and February 10th searches.
Go, Alan. Go, Alan.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you're finished already. What's the date of that? Well, let me ask a foundational question. Does that refresh your recollection as to the date of the report that actually talks about the February 4th and February 10th searches?
It does.
And what's the date of that report, sir?
This report is dated November 4th, 2023.
Thank you. May I approach?
Yes.
Thank you.
Take
Now,
that.
as it relates to those 2 searches, I'd like to ask you a little bit about the February 4th search first. You indicated that you actually responded to 34 Fairview personally, correct?
I was responding to that location on my own. I personally responded, yes.
Okay. That was because you had received information that Chief Berkowitz had seen something or found something. Is that right? Chief Berkowitz from Canton PD.
That is not correct, no.
Okay. So when you got there, was Chief Berkowitz there?
Yes, he was.
You just happened to go by 34 Fairview at the exact same time on the exact same date as Chief Berkowitz, or was that coordinated in some way?
There was no coordination between me and Chief Berkowitz. As I testified, I had directed the troopers to go by the location. I planned to go by the location in the morning on the way to the office and in the afternoon on the way home, just to see if any more items would reveal themselves. So that morning, I was actually traveling to that location in order to conduct a view of the area to see if any more evidence had been revealed. Prior to my arrival, approximately while I was on Chapman Street, I received a call indicating that Chief Berkowitz was at the location, yes.
And was there also an Officer Lank, Sergeant Lank?
I do not know Sergeant Lank was there, no.
Okay. Chief Berkowitz certainly was there.
Yes,
And Chief Berkowitz indicated that as he was driving by, he saw a piece of plastic
yes.
and stopped his car and then started making phone calls.
I believe that's what he indicated to the caller, yes.
Did you question Chief Berkowitz about why he was driving by the location in the first place?
Absolutely not.
Okay, you knew at that point that the Canton Police Department had been recused because of at least an appearance or potential for a conflict of interest, correct?
I knew they recused themselves due to only in respect to interviews. They didn't want to conduct interviews with us side by side.
I mean, if there's a conflict of interest, Sergeant, for the department, conducting the interviews is just one aspect of an investigation, correct?
I'm not going to speak to a conflict of interest, but yes, conducting an interview is just one aspect of the investigation, yes.
So is it your testimony that your understanding was they couldn't conduct interviews, but they could collect evidence, store evidence, write search warrants, get returns on search warrants, execute search warrants, conduct searches? They could do all that but not conduct interviews?
My understanding was they were recusing themselves from conducting interviews. They still allowed us to use their facilities. We utilized their conference room to conduct interviews.
Not what
There
you
was
asked.
evidence being stored at their Sallyport, being the vehicle.
Oh, the
So-
magical Sallyport.
That was my understanding.
Isn't it true that you knew that the entirety of the Canton Police Department had recused itself because of a familiarity between one of their members, Kevin Albert, and the Albert family on whose lawn John O'Keefe was found? That was the conflict, correct?
I knew that was the connection between them, yes.
And you understood, sir, that that agency was to have nothing from an investigative standpoint, nothing to do with this investigation, correct?
They were not conducting the investigation, no.
Matter of fact, Trooper Proctor and you supervising him, y'all were conducting the investigation, right?
Our office was conducting the investigation.
So did you find it unusual or suspicious in any way that the chief of police for the conflicted Canton PD was the person driving by 34 Fairview looking for evidence?
Objection.
Can you answer that question, Sergeant?
Can you answer that question, Sergeant?
He would have to repeat it. There's just so much I can't.
It was a little
Really?
wordy. I'll try it again. Did you find that suspicious?
Which part? You have to repeat the whole thing.
That Chief Berkowitz from the conflicted Canton PD was at 34 Fairview looking for evidence?
The way you posed the question, I did not find it suspicious at all. He's the chief of the police in the town where he works, and he's driving down the street. I mean, that's not suspicious.
With a conflict of interest on the very case that he's driving by.
Objection.
Sustained.
You certainly knew as a supervisor over the case officer that any involvement by Canton Police Department, given the fact that there's a potential conflict, any involvement by them could compromise your otherwise clean investigation. You knew that, right?
Not necessarily, no.
Did Chief Berkowitz disclose to you that morning on February 4th that he had been communicating with Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, two witnesses on your case that morning?
Objection.
Sustained.
If you knew information about communication between and among Canton PD and your witnesses, you would find that inappropriate, would you not?
Objection.
Sustained.
You returned to the scene on February 10th, is that right? To conduct another search, you said.
I was present on the 10th, yes.
Who dispatched you back to, or did anybody dispatch you back to that location on February 10th? How did you end up there is a better way to ask it.
February 10th, just like previous days, we made plans to go to the location in the morning, in the
I got in the TARDIS in the Sallyport, and it TARDISed me straight over there.
afternoon, drive by. I was on my way to work and to home. So I traveled that route on purpose.
Running
And as
in time for my best Boston accent.
evidence revealed itself due to the natural melting of the snow, we would stop and collect the visible evidence.
You believe at this point, sir, that whatever you might collect at the scene would obviously be important, correct?
Hello.
Anything we collected that had evidentiary value or presented itself as somehow related to the crime or the incident would be collected.
And it would be important to the investigation, right? You treat it as important.
It is important, yes.
So my question was, especially as it relates to the February 10th search, where there were multiple items found, did you seek to have CSSS come out and actually either mark with GPS coordinates or measure with cross coordinates exactly where each item of evidence was found?
We did not do that. We had collected so much evidence already, and so much has been documented at that point, that we did not contact crime scene services to come back out and photograph more shards of glass and plastic. We simply collected it for processing.
So the location of each one of those items was not of that great importance to you, at least at that time?
It was of great importance as to the fact that it was located in the vicinity where the victim was found and in the vicinity of other items located of the same characteristic, shape, size, and color.
So that's my question, Sergeant. What does vicinity mean?
In the area.
Okay, what does area mean?
In the location.
It's a location, specific location.
In the vicinity.
Are we talking about, if we do this all day, I guess, are we talking about an area of 5 feet or an area of 50 feet?
Based on where the items were recovered, we're talking about an area approximately of 30 square feet between the roadway into the grass.
We saw photographs, Sergeant, of items that were butted up against a fire hydrant in one instance, correct? Is that yes?
That's correct, yes.
A drinking straw that's out in the road, correct?
That's correct.
Another shard of glass that's in the grass, closer to
correct.
the flagpole, correct?
Correct.
A hat that's under the snow, adjacent to the left side of the flagpole, correct? I'm sorry, it wasn't. It was closer to the electrical box, wasn't it?
No, the pictures documented where the hat was. It was to the right of the flagpole.
So these shards of glass, the point I'm asking is, did you seek to use basic cross coordinates, measurements from something that you know is a known object, like for instance, I don't know, a flagpole or a fire hydrant? 27 inches to the north,
I love you, Alan.
a foot and a half to the south of those two known points. That would give you a cross coordinate, correct?
It would document the exact location, correct?
And you did not do that with any of these items, correct?
The items that were not photographed were not also GPS located, but they were within the same vicinity of where the other items were collected.
But again, now we're back to the same question. Your word for vicinity might be different than my word for vicinity, right?
Objection.
Sustain.
When you recover these items, or any other items, it's obviously important to memorialize on the evidence bag or in some other way exactly where they're found, who found them, the date, time, etc. Correct?
We do the best we can to document all known information on
Best
each
good enough.
evidence item bagged at the time.
And in terms of the February 10th search,
Pop
I
out.
want to just ask you a couple of quick questions about that evidence bag. Did you bag the items into a single evidence bag that you found that day, or do you recall?
I would have to see the bag. If you have those available, I'll take a look. I can answer.
With the court's permission, exhibit, I think it's 310 that was entered into evidence yesterday. I'd like to display that for us.
Okay.
You're looking at a photograph of what was previously entered into evidence as 310. Can you see that from where you're at? I don't have the evidence bag with me, so if you don't, I can certainly ask the space to enlarge it.
If you can enlarge it, please.
Just a portion of the right. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I didn't realize I've got a photograph of it.
Do you need the lights on, Sergeant?
Please. Thank you.
Should make it easier. Sergeant, have you been able to familiarize yourself with that evidence bag?
With the photograph, yes.
Okay, thank you. Taking a look at that evidence bag, it has the information on it, has your name is collected by, correct?
Correct.
The date of collection is February 10th, is that right?
That's what it says, yes.
Okay. And it indicates multiple pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, right? It actually says 6 pieces of red, black, and clear plastic, correct?
That's correct.
But that is not an evidence bag that was filled out by you.
I did not fill that bag out, no.
As a matter of fact, that's Trooper Proctor's handwriting.
I do not know what Trooper Proctor's
City of
handwriting is. I cannot
handwriting?
confirm that that's his handwriting.
But it's not your handwriting.
It is not my handwriting, no.
So are you aware that this particular bag, that bag that contained those 6 items of plastic material that you already deemed was incredibly important to the investigation, was never going into any evidence until March 14th, the date that it was submitted to the crime lab?
I was not aware of that, no.
We can take that down. Space. If I may approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Did you ever draft a report yourself documenting the recovery of those 6 items and the other 14 items that you said that you found on the same date, February 10th?
I did not, no.
Did you leave that assuming that Trooper Proctor would document that?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it differently.
I'll ask it another way if I can. Did you believe that you didn't need to write a report, Sergeant, because Trooper Proctor would take care of that?
I knew that it would be documented. It was already documented on the actual bag as far as who collected it, when, where, what it was, and a report eventually would be authored on it.
But the where, for all these very intricate pieces, the where is left to 34 Fairview on the back, correct?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
Is that right?
The general vicinity location of the other items collected and documented with photographs was consistent with the same locations this was collected.
The photographs just show bits of snow and grass.
I want to shift gears for just a second. Well, actually, I want to ask one final question about that item. Based on the documentation that you just mentioned, that it's documented on the bag, and if the bag is presented to the crime lab on on March 14th, some 5 weeks later, those items were completely unaccounted for from a log standpoint for the entire time from when they were collected until they were booked at the crime lab, correct?
Objection.
Sustained. Ask it
Did you
differently.
keep possession of those items, of those 4, 5, 6 weeks?
Are you talking about the items that were just displayed on the screen?
I am, sir.
I did not.
Now I'd like to shift gears to a ring video that you saw yesterday. It's in Exhibit 6, video number 153. That may mean nothing to you. It's the 5:07 a.m. video of Miss Reed's car pulling out of the One Meadows garage. Do you remember that video?
I do.
Okay. You indicated yesterday on questioning, under questioning by Mr. Lally, that Miss Reed's car came in contact with or close to coming in contact with the other vehicle, the Traverse, in the video. Is that right?
The video, as I watched the video, I observed the vehicle come near Mr. O'Keefe's car.
Okay, that's what I want to talk about. With the court's permission, may we play that video one more time? If you can pull that up, and then I'm going to ask you to pause it and get out of the way. Okay, can you just play that for a quick second, and then I'll ask you to pause it. Pause. Does that appear to be, I'm just pausing it in the first 2 or 3 seconds, does that appear to be the video that you saw yesterday?
It appears that way, yes.
Okay. Mr. Bates, if you could enlarge the area around the the left rear tire of the Traverse. I'm going to ask you, sir, if you'll pay close attention to what's been zoomed, and when the SUV gets close to it, I'm going to pause it and ask you another question. Can you go ahead and play this?
Your Honor, I'm going to object to this.
So why don't we pause the screen, take it down, and I'll see you at sidebar.
Sorry, I was in the middle of sending an email. Deb, check your emails. All right, let's skip the sidebar and get.
We can have the lights on. And you can take that down. Sergeant, were you able to see that video? I know it's not the clearest thing in the world. Were you able to see that video okay?
Yes, I
What
did.
did you notice about the rear wheel of the Traverse?
Based on the motion in the shot with the snow falling, it appears that there is movement, but the video speaks for itself.
What would you assess based on the movement of the rear wheel of the Traverse about whether or not the two vehicles came in contact with one another?
Objection.
Sustained.
Okay. May I have just a moment, Your Honor?
Yes.
May I inquire?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm trying to use my time wisely, Your Honor. Yesterday, Sergeant, you were asked about a couple of videos related to the Sallyport garage. Do you have that in mind?
Yes.
As a matter of fact, we watched one of them pretty specifically toward the end of the day yesterday. Did you actually, I want to talk about the one that is the clearer of the two where you slip. You remember that one?
No, it's not him. It's the
If you pull it up, I can.
I will in just a second.
Okay.
tow truck
There was
driver.
one where Mr.
I was
Riley
taking a photo.
paused it and you were slipping in front of the in front of the vehicle?
I don't recall myself slipping, no, but it was icy that day. So if there's documentation of me slipping, I might have
Fair
happened.
enough, fair enough. I didn't mean anything by that other than that was a moment that I thought you might recall to differentiate the videos. It's Exhibit 446, but I don't think that's going to help you. All right, let's see if I can do this another way. Did you actually personally go to Canton PD to retrieve any or all of the videos of the Sallyport? You yourself?
I did go to Canton and collect already extracted video,
Okay.
but it was a portion of video surveillance. I didn't collect all of the video, so
When was the most recent time that you went to Canton to collect a portion of the video?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Did you review well, let me ask it this way. Did you collect a video that was sought on or about April 23rd or 24th this year? Meaning just a few weeks ago.
Did I collect it?
Correct.
I did not collect that video of April this year, no.
Or you're aware that the video that you saw yesterday was in fact collected after the trial started in April of 2024?
Objection.
Sustained.
Are you aware of when that video that we saw yesterday was collected?
Objection.
Yeah,
I am
I know
not
you're
aware.
objecting.
Was yesterday the first time you'd seen that video?
No,
When had you seen that video previously?
a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, what were the circumstances in which you saw that video?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you have a meeting with the DA?
Objection.
Sustained.
Did you ever have any kind of communication with Mr. Lally about your testimony?
Objection.
Sustained.
May we approach?
Yes.
Valley really doesn't want him to talk about what he's testifying to and the Sallyport video. Clearly. Yeah, Deb, that's great. That's fine. I'm pretty much free whenever. I would just so happen that it's a long weekend this weekend in Melbourne, and Sunday I'm going to a girlfriend's house, and Monday's the King's birthday, public holiday. So I'll be back after lunch on Monday, but otherwise I'm here. I'm here and generally watching. My only issue is that the trials start with the time difference around 10 p.m. here, so I end up taking notes for the first couple of hours and then fall asleep with the notepad in my hand and skip the middle bit and then wake up and watch the end bit and miss the whole middle section. So, but I don't think they go for a great deal longer. Let's skip this. Get back to the testimony.
So I had reviewed videos outside of our meeting, so I don't remember exactly what video Mr. Lally showed me.
But you do recall seeing the video that you saw yesterday, the sort of clear one that has the crime scene tape being put up and all that. You have seen that one before.
Yes.
And that was with Mr. Lally, correct?
That is not correct because I do not recall when I saw that video or what video I saw with Mr. Lally.
I see. All right. I'd like to talk about that Exhibit 446 for a second, and then I'll show it to you. You indicated that the video all the videos, everything that you saw yesterday was true and accurate, correct? Based on your memory of the events that were memorialized in the video?
The video captures events taking place in an accurate fashion, yes.
In an accurate fashion. All right, that's what I wanted to find out. And after you watched the video, I think you were asked by Mr. Lally, does the video show you or Trooper Proctor having access to or messing with in any way that right rear tail light in any fashion? And you said never.
I was asked if at any point Trooper Proctor and I had came into contact, I believe, or touched the vehicle and that portion of the vehicle, and I said never. We never touched the vehicle prior to it being properly processed with a search warrant.
And that was specifically his question was to, and your answer was to the right rear portion of the vehicle, right? That right rear taillight.
The right rear damaged taillight, correct.
With the court's permission, I'd like to play a portion of
This is the good bit.
Exhibit 446.
Okay.
Before we begin playing it, Mr. Bates, if you wouldn't mind, may I inquire, Your Honor, of the witness, just to lay a foundation?
Yes.
Sergeant, do you recognize this as being the video that we saw yesterday?
It does look accurate.
Okay.
Yes.
I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
So
This
it
is
looks like
446.
there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. At least 4 and a mannequin so far. At
It's
least.
just so you have it in mind if I reference that. Basically, you
But
play
they
that,
magically appear and disappear. So
and I think it's runtime 120.
and I was watching Sean McDonough this morning, and he said, if you watch this door here, how many times it opens and closes, and extra people come in and out, and apparently also a female comes in from this side, and he believes that one of the people in here is the other Sergeant Berkowitz as well. So that's
Do you recognize that as the video we saw yesterday?
Yuri
Yes, I
Bukhenik
do.
in the tan hat.
Very briefly, if you could move to time of day, 5:37:05.
That's not me making that noise. Yeah, there's one. Oh, there was 6 of them then. Yeah. So that's the person that gets out of this side is the tow truck driver, and then he walks around the front, past the mannequin, takes a photo, but slips as well.
All right, that shows the vehicle coming into the Sallyport, and we're looking at which side of the vehicle?
So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. What that video depicts is a mirror collection. Although mirrors are accurate representation of what you're seeing.
The mannequin did it in the library with a candlestick.
It's just inverted. So that is the driver's side of the vehicle. I do not know why it is inverted, but that's the way it was presented, collected and presented from Canton Police.
Can you see a timestamp or a time and date stamp on the bottom of that? It's in blue.
I cannot know.
Okay.
5:36:43.
That time and date stamp, if you can't read every letter on it, that is in correct order. In other words, that's not inverted.
I cannot read it, no.
All right, let's go ahead and play this for a second.
Yeah, keep your eye on the back door here.
Who's
can
that
see
that
my
just got
cursor.
out of the car?
The back door behind.
I do not know. I think that's
Now you can see my cursor. That one there. Keep your eye on that door. How many people go in and out?
the tow truck driver. He would have the only access to the vehicle. We did not touch the vehicle.
Who's that on the left?
I missed that. I was looking down at the laser pointer. I do not know. I know for a fact I'm the gentleman that's wearing a dark olive drab state police baseball style hat, and Trooper Mike Proctor is wearing a winter hat.
Yeah. So the two
Trooper Proctor's wearing what?
people
A
just
winter
left were the
hat.
tow truck drivers.
Back up. That was playing, and I didn't realize it was playing while you were talking.
Whoop. Tow truck driver.
Stop. And stop. Yesterday, when you testified, you indicated that the two individuals in this scene were you and Trooper Proctor, correct?
Not correct. There was two individuals in the rear of the vehicle. I shined my light to. That was me and Trooper Proctor.
Do you see Trooper Proctor toward the back of the rear of the vehicle there?
I can't tell because of where the head is. I just know that Trooper Proctor was wearing a black hat.
Which the person in that in the video to the left, to the rear of the car, is wearing a black hat, correct?
I can't tell. I don't want to be locked into a statement where later on you show me that it's somebody else magically. I can't testify to that.
There's no magic about this. It's your testimony. I'm just asking you what you see.
I don't see that. No.
That's a bit unfair, Alan. There is magic here.
Let's go ahead and play at this point.
Clearly. Okay. And slip. Whee! Take a photo. Click.
You see the person toward the back of the vehicle walking toward the opposite side of the SUV?
I do.
What area does he appear to be going to?
He appears to be going towards the rear passenger side of the vehicle, although it does not appear so because the video is inverted, a mirror image. That's where he's going.
And Sgt Bukhenik, you testified for at least a half an hour about this video yesterday, correct?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, it was a long day. I don't know the timing of how long I testified.
You
have
significantly
to
testified about this video.
Every one of them.
I testified about this video.
And you testified that it was true and accurate, correct?
Correct.
And you testified that it was reflective of your observations of what was happening in that Sallyport that evening, correct?
I testified that this is a accurate scene and collection of video evidence from the Sallyport.
And as that truck sits in that Sallyport, just like this, it appears from all perspectives that what we're looking at is the passenger side of the car, and that right rear taillight is right there shining in our face, correct? From this perspective.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
From this perspective, the
Please.
perspective that the jurors are looking at,
Okay.
from all indications, that would appear to be the right side of the truck, the passenger side of the truck, and that taillight that you can see is the right rear taillight from this perspective, correct?
The way it presents itself, yes.
And yesterday, during the entirety of your questioning by Mr. Lally, not once did you mention that this video is actually completely inverted,
I
correct?
did not know.
Mr. Lally didn't ask you if it was inverted, correct?
That's correct.
And if I hadn't gotten up here and begun questioning you, that would be left uncorrected, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
Uncorrected. Correct?
The person with the winter cap appears to walk directly to what ultimately should be the
Yum.
right rear taillight of this car, correct?
Chocolate.
That's
have
the
to go and
vicinity,
make
yes.
myself one
That's
of
what it
them.
is, yeah.
My cup's empty.
Pause it. I'd like you
I'm gonna
pay
have to put the
attention
kettle on now,
to the
Angela.
right rear of this car, but I know we're completely backward.
I'll be
It's
back.
The far corner of the car. Do you see a person's head there?
It appears as if someone's still there.
And that person is located at or near What portion of the car?
In real life or as it's depicted?
Is the person near in real life, near the right rear tail light of the car?
Yes.
Matter of fact, standing there, hovering around there, correct?
We don't know the distance that they are in proximity to the actual vehicle. We just know that they're behind the vehicle. That
Looks like it's pretty close, doesn't it, Sergeant?
Objection.
Sustained.
Does that look like he's in close proximity to the right rear tail light?
as I said, I can't tell how far away he is from the vehicle.
His head's right there, sir. You can't tell that he's right next to the right rear tail light?
Objection.
Sustained.
I want you to pay attention to what that person does as soon as the other person comes out from behind that car. See if you see him move. Stop it. Do you see that person move?
I saw movement in the frame, yes.
Right when the other person is in eyesight of the person toward the right rear, correct?
I mean, the video speaks for itself.
Yeah, it does.
No.
Objection, Your Honor.
The objection sustained. No commenting, Mr. Jackson. We've talked about that.
I'm going to ask Mr. Bates to back it up because there's one other issue I want you to pay attention to, if you can, right at this moment or right before this moment, and that is the timestamp. We back it up in maybe 10 seconds. Right about there. Instead of paying attention to the individuals, I'm going to ask you, can you see, what's the screen you're on?
Yes.
Can you see the timestamp at 5:37 and 37 seconds p.m.? Can you see that from where you're at?
No, I cannot.
Me neither. But I don't want to. Let's play it for about 10 seconds. Did you see another person just appear toward the rear end of the car?
Do you miss me?
There was a fog of some sorts. It did appear as if a person was actually in. There was two people back there, and two people walked away, or one person walked away.
The timestamp jumped to 5:38:01. Correct?
I cannot see the timestamp, sir.
Okay.
I can.
Did it appear that there was an
So
anomaly?
good. Hot
There was a
chocolate.
portion of that video that was deleted. What's missing? Not deleted, but just missing.
Objection.
Can you tell that? Does it appear that way to you, Sergeant?
No, Your Honor, I cannot tell what
Can
is
you tell that?
happening with the
Does it
video.
appear that way to you?
10 degrees
Um,
Celsius here in Melbourne.
If you take a look, a close look.
Good idea,
at-
Angela.
there's a classic.
People back there, and two people walked away, or one person walked away.
Timestamp jumped to 5:38:01. Correct?
I cannot see the timestamp, sir.
Okay. Did it appear that there was an anomaly? There was a portion of that video that was deleted. What's missing? Not deleted, but just missing.
Objection.
Can you tell that? Does it appear that way to you, Sergeant?
No, Your Honor, I cannot tell what is happening with the video.
If you take a close look at there's a classic police car in that Sallyport, correct?
There's an antique vehicle there. Yes, yes.
If you take a close look at the trunk of that vehicle, see the word police?
Yes, I believe I can read that. Yes,
And it's backward, correct?
it is mirrored. Correct.
That's a good indication that this is an inverted video, right?
It appears that way. Yes.
And if we were to fast forward at 5:42, 20 seconds.
I'll show you exactly when it was smashed.
There you go. Can we just play it at this point? No. You keep on pause it. Pause it. You see the Sallyport garage came down?
Yes,
You see a number on the garage?
I do.
Is that correct?
What is correct?
Does the number appear correct? How do you make it 4?
No, the number's in the mirror image, yes.
I just wanted to make the point.
I always have a
Video
theory.
is
Always.
completely backwards, correct?
It's not backwards, it's mirrored, reversed. You can look yourself in the mirror in the morning, you still see your own face. It's not backwards.
Yeah. That's why I avoid
My
mirrors.
mirror image is not an accurate depiction of who I am. My
Check.
actual physical appearance is who I am, correct?
Objection.
Sustained.
A mirror image, Sergeant, is not an accurate video of this, is it?
Objection.
It's a mirror image by definition.
Sustained. Ask it differently, Mr. Jackson.
Your Honor, thank you. I would like to mark I have a, we can bring the lights up.
Wait.
I have a thumb drive that I'd like to have marked with the court's permission.
Does Mr. Lally know what's on this thumb drive without
Nope.
you telling us?
I do not.
Okay.
We can approach and I can certainly bring it up.
We're trying to wrap up our morning.
It's,
It's marked for identification.
if I may, Your Honor.
Any ideas on
I'd
what
like
that might
to play
be?
The first 10 seconds of that video.
No. We'll come to Simon. It's marked for identification.
I believe that the defense have reinverted that video and have that on the thumb drive to show exactly what it should look like in that Sallyport. But let's going back to my theory. Well, it's not so much my theory, but I've been watching this video and presented by multiple different people. I'm going to find the right spot. It's before the garage door goes down. All right, let's see if I can see it. All right, see how there's... I'll go back a little bit. Keep your eye on this door here.
May I inquire?
How many
Your
people
Honor,
come in and out?
Just to lay a foundation. Sergeant, do you recognize this as being the video that we saw yesterday?
It does.
Right. Ah! I hit the wrong button. See, there's someone here already, which I think is Proctor. It's going backwards now. All right, so that's a tow truck driver. And I believe
Pause it.
Proctor's back there.
I'd like you to pay attention to the right rear of this car. And I know we're completely backward, but it's the far corner of the car. Do you see a person's head there?
Still there. All right. Oh,
Pause it.
still there.
Did you see another person?
Stop
just
pausing it.
appear toward the rear end of the car?
There was.
No, they're
I
not
do.
showing the right bit of the video. They've skipped the actual bit between.
What is correct?
Does the number appear correct? How do you make it 4?
No, the number's in the mirror image, yes.
I just wanted to make the point.
Anyway, if you go back and look at the entire video together before they close the door, there is 3 or 4 of them huddled around that back quarter panel, and one person comes out from the front of the car over here and it looks like it's a female, and she walks just past this door and basically turns on her heel and walks straight back again as if she's seen something that she's not supposed to have seen. And there was no one else around the front of the car, just the 3 or 4 people at the back, because they all come in and out this back door here where you can't see who they are. And yeah, it's believed that one of them is Sergeant starts with a B. Can't remember. Can you tell it's getting late for me? And I believe this well, the day pretty much wraps up here.
All right, so I received a motion from the Commonwealth this morning that I have not had an opportunity to read yet. It's on my desk. I'd like to go spend a few minutes looking at that and come back out at 12 o'clock on that.
No, sorry, Alan's
In order
busy.
for us to argue it?
Yes.
They're basically going to come back Monday morning at 8:30 and argue it. So we'll stop sharing that. Oh, hello. And apparently the motion that the Commonwealth have put forward is something to do with one of the defence's expert witnesses that they want to call. So we shall find out 8:30 Monday morning which witness that is. Hopefully we get the medical examiner or something next week. That would be good. Now I did put together a little dog bite presentation if you wanted to have a look. I was just looking at online at different dog bites and how they present themselves, and I compared them to John O'Keefe. Yeah, I did put sound effects with it, sorry. Turn that volume down. Yeah, so basically just comparing other types of dog bite wounds to John's. The comparative reasons. That's nasty, that one. It's going to leave a scar. So they're not all just puncture wounds, was the point that I was trying to get across with that. Now that's the that is the dummy arm. Melanie Little had on her YouTube channel the dog training specialist that does all the training of the police dogs. And that's the actual dummy arm that he uses when they train the dogs to bite the arms, and that's the marks that the dog's bites have created on the dummy arm. So he's trying to explain that they're not just puncture wounds, it's deep lacerations because the dog bites and pulls back, and it's your natural instinct to also retreat from the bite as well. So it's not normally just presented as a puncture wound. Oh. Oh, it was finished. Okay, cool. All right. Well, we've got full day Monday, no court Tuesday, full court days Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So be interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what's on that thumb drive. That's for sure. And where Jackson plans on taking it. So I've also made a little tribute song to reflect the proceedings, so to speak. Yeah. So have a listen to the words, and I'll use that as my outro this evening. So thank you for joining us. enjoy the rest of your, or the beginning of your weekend. It's Friday night here, so enjoy, stay well. Until next time, I bid you adieu.
name is Karen Reed. I plead not guilty to this deed. We were just drinking at the bar. They think I hit you with my car, though I don't really know how, without me damaging the plow. So we found you in the snow. How you got there, I don't know. Brian Albertson's the place where we found your broken face. All the witnesses that tried claim their phones can all but dial. The McCabe say they're your friend, but the truth they surely bend. They will pull out all the stops, protecting all the crooked cops. And those cringy texts I sent to the agent that was banned were removed in single threads by machines owned by the feds. So Detective Brian's dreams were not disturbed by my shrill screams. Carrie Roberts testified, didn't fake it when she cried. Unlike Jen, who likes to mock a state of horror and of shock. It was February 22 when I last set eyes on you. Death is such a nasty thief of your life, Johnny O'Keefe.